Hey everybody, I'm making this video about Bible enthusiast lingo. So there's a lot of terms when you are introduced to the Bible enthusiast community. There are a lot of terms that are really technical that you kind of need to know so that you kind of understand what people are talking about. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few of those terms. Now this will probably end up being like a video series where we addressed maybe 2 or 3 of those terms each episode. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Reminder, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell so that you get updates whenever I upload new videos. I do a lot of Bible reviews, tutorials, and videos like this that are just trying to be helpful for folks in the Bible enthusiast community. So anyway, let's kind of get into it and see where it goes. Okay, so first, I want to talk about ribs or hubs. That's a term that that you kind of know, you kind of have an idea what it means, but it refers to the spine of the edition, and you can kind of see right there. This is a Canterbury and calfskin from Schuyler, and you can see the spine there. It has raised ribs. I call them ribs. Some folks call them hubs, but they are meant to be more nostalgic than functional. They do kind of help you have something to hold on to on the spine. But back in the old days, when they bound, they take all the collection of threads and roll them over onto these lines on the spine. And then when they wrapped the spine in leather, it left those look like ribs, and these are not functional in that way because all the sewing is covered by either the Oxford tube that's within the spine or the spine reinforcement on the block. Now this is the block, the actual pages of paper, that's considered the block. This is the cover. The spine is this end. So there's a few terms to kind of get you familiarized with that. But you have a few options with regard to design. You have the raised ribs there. Also found on like the Crossway Omega. They have raised ribs. And but on Allen Bibles, now these are Bibles produced by R.L. Allen and Sons. Allen Bibles specifically have what's called tooled ribs. Most Cambridge Bibles are the same way. They have these tooled ribs. You can see the ribs there. They're not raised. They're actually a couple of indentions that give just kind of a visual breakup in this spine. The word tooling comes from like saddle tooling, where they take tools and cut literal divots in the leather to make art. These aren't cuts in the leather. They're actually just impressions in the leather. But we refer to those as tooled ribs. The other type of spine would be this smooth spine. Okay. And these ribs are basically just painted. They're printed on. Okay. So a lot of Bibles nowadays are like this, where they're not actually tooled. They're just printed on or pressed on, like whenever they press on or paint on the art on the spine. So those are some of the options for the spine. If you see that, then you'll kind of at least know what people are talking about. All right, so the next thing I want to tell you about are construction techniques. Okay, so the Bible can be constructed in a few different ways. First is going to be either it's sewn or glued. Those are important. And you'll see the term Smith sewn or Smythe sewn, which is S-M-Y-T-H-E, Smythe sewn. I say Smith sewn or just sewn binding. That's where all of these, this whole block, book block, as you'd call it, the text block, is made up of individual separate booklets that are sewn together. Those booklets are called signatures. And those signatures are tied together and actually sewn together with needle and thread. So you can imagine it's much more secure than where you have all individual sheets stacked up. The back side's glued. The spine is just one layer of glue, or maybe multiple layers of glue. But either way, it's not as strong as a sewn binding. So that's the difference between sewn and glued bindings. Next is going to be paste down or edge lined construction. All right, so this is a journaling edition from Crossway, and it has what's called a paste down, where you have your cover, which this is a synthetic cover. You have a cover material, and then the block has this end sheet that's just pasted down to it. That's why it's called a paste down. So, and this paste down construction is just temporary. That's the best word I could give you. And the reason why they sell is because they're cheaper to produce, because you use paper for the liner rather than leather. So they're cheaper to produce. So if you're buying a bunch and you want to get it out there, or you want to have access to something like this without the higher price tag, you're most likely going to pay for a paste down liner. Now, a premium edition that's a paste down is this Canterbury that I've already shown you. This Canterbury has a nice calfskin cover, okay, and it's beautiful. This calfskin is one of the best calfskins you can find. It has the raised ribs. I mean, it's beautiful. It has the art gilding, which is the color. Art gilding is the color underneath the gold there. So this has like a red art gilding. And the gilding, G-I-L-D, is the gold on the side. What's underneath is the gilting, the G-I-L-T. Okay, so there's some minor confusion about the difference between the two. And usually if you say art gilding, people are going to know what you're talking about, but technically that's what that is. You have the gilt edge and the gild edge, and those are what those are. But what I was getting at is that this edition is also a paste down. You can see it really well there. This is a paste down paper liner, and that's what makes these calfskin editions significantly cheaper than their goatskin edge lined counterparts. So that might be helpful for you guys when understanding the differences. This paste down liner, and then the example I'll show you is this. This is a more rare than you'd think. The R.L. Allen PSR from ESV translation. PSR is the personal size reference edition, and this is just a really nice Bible bound by Ludlow, and it's edge lined. So that means it has a leather liner. Okay, so this blue liner is a calfskin liner. Okay, and instead of there being a piece of paper coming off the text block pasted down to the bottom side of the cover, you have this leather liner that holds this cover together much more secure. And then a piece of this cover, this liner leather, is attached right here, and you can see it. I'll try to show you. Let's see if I can tilt it a certain. There you go, right there. You can see this hump right there that goes all the way down the edge of the block. So this is where you get the edge is covered by lining, the liner. It's edge lined. That's why you get the term edge lined. And this is a much stronger, much stronger. And I'll hold the ribbons up too. This is how strong it is. These pieces of leather hold that block on both sides, and the cover is much more secure in that way. So this is an edge-lined book. This is an edge-line construction. It's going to be a lot longer lasting. I wouldn't recommend you do that with a paste down, because you'll end up tearing this somewhere because it's just paper. All right, so we talked about a lot of things. The next thing I want to talk about is paper. And there's a couple terms that I want to share with you guys that are probably the most popular terms when we talk about paper. You have GSM, and then a designation of paper called French milled paper. So GSM, really quickly, is grams per square meter, which is a measurement of density. So paper weight is they use the GSM number. Okay, so the grams per square meter, whether it's 28. So this Omega has a 28 GSM paper, which means it's not as dense. It's about normal Bible paper. Normal Bible paper is 26 to 28 GSM, which would be just kind of typical. You're going to have some ghosting, and ghosting is another term where you have letters, words that you can see from the previous page bleeding through. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that from this angle, but maybe right under that second paragraph on 9, you'll see that little end section, you can see some bleed through. It's called ghosting because they appear really faint, almost like ghosts. Okay, so that ghosting is really a big deal for a lot of folks. So typically, the higher the GSM or the higher the density of paper, the less ghosting you'll have. Much like, you can see through a veil of sheer material because it's not as dense versus, if you stacked several of those together and you increase the density and you increase the thickness, now you can't see through it as well. So maybe that helps explain it a little bit better. So GSM is a measurement of density. It's not always a measurement of quality. This paper here is a journaling Bible paper, and it's a higher GSM paper, but it's a lower quality. You can see the ghosting on it. It's a higher GSM for a different reason. Okay, so they use a lower quality material and they make it more dense so you can write in it. Okay, that's why on journaling editions, the paper is going to have this creamier color. It's going to be a higher density paper, but you're still going to have a lot of ghosting because it's not meant to prevent ghosting. It's meant to hold up to penmanship. Okay, so there's different reasons for different types of paper construction. Okay, so GSM is simply a measurement of density. It doesn't mean it's high quality paper. It doesn't mean it's superior. There's several editions with lower GSM paper, lower density paper. They'll have less ghosting than higher density paper. It's just a matter of it's one piece of the puzzle that determines quality of paper. That leads me to the highest quality of paper, in my opinion, and that's the term French milled paper. And you can find French milled paper in the Nelson Signature Series editions. You can find it in the older Foundation NASB editions from the early 2000s. I've got one here, and this is one of the best Bibles ever made. This is called the Judge. This is the Foundation NASB side column reference in calfskin, and it has French milled paper. This French milled paper is a 39 GSM, which means it's a pretty high density paper, but specifically the French milled paper, regardless of its GSM, is really a higher quality paper because of the environmental restrictions in France. So they have to use a lot higher quality materials to produce French milled paper because of the stringent requirements there. That means French milled paper is going to be much more expensive and harder to attain. That's why Bible producers don't really use it now as much as they did 15 years ago. These editions, the Nelson Signature editions, there's several others that use French milled paper. They're going to be a lot higher quality paper than even 39 GSM, 40, 45 GSM paper that you'll find nowadays that are not produced with the same high quality materials. So the combination of high quality materials and the right paper density or GSM, that is the perfect storm that is the French milled paper. So there's a few terms that we could go through that I hope were helpful for you guys. I didn't want to make this video too terribly long, but I hope this was helpful for you guys. Again, this is probably going to be a video series. So in the comments, please let me know some terms that you want to hear defined or explained. And I'll try to make additional videos for your benefit that would kind of continue on the same premise of Bible lingo. You know, what do you guys want to know about? So also, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bells for when I upload new videos and content. I do a lot of Bible reviews, tutorials, videos like this that are meant to be helpful for you guys in the Bible enthusiast community. Also, if you want to support the channel, check out Patreon. Left a link in the description. Also, I'm leaving the links in the description for most of these so that if you want to purchase or you want to find a link for how to purchase, you can just check out the description below. So thank you guys again for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Take care. God bless.